up Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Mr. Vice President, I'm going off script again, I know, but I just want to personally thank you. We've been through some stuff. We've gone through some of the most complex military operations this country's ever conducted, and your steady hand and your leadership during those was a great source of strength for me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your character. Thank you for your selfless service. Thank you for commitment. Thank you for being a mentor to me, Mr. Vice President.
It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. Did I get that one right? Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
This is a president of the United States who is a danger to the Republic.
America first.
He knows he's an illegitimate president.
The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans.
The great Trump recovery.
America will never be a socialist country. I will fight for you with every breath in my body.
Russia, Russian, pro-Russian, Russian, the Russians.
Russia.
And I will never, ever let you down.
A dangerous virus is spreading rapidly in China, and U.S. officials are very worried that it could come here.
This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this.
The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election. Together, we will make America strong again. You know what it's about? Fraud, fake ballots. We will make America wealthy again. They are trying to steal the election.
Now, under the leadership of President Trump, we are fully realizing President Kennedy's prescient view of Special Operations Forces.
We will make America proud again. And watch, please, those mail-in ballots. We will make America safe again. And in millions and millions of ballots. Their vote is under what they thought they needed. They're dumping more ballots in there, okay? And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president.
Congress, the chair declares the joint session dissolved.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Saturday edition of the Devolution Power Hour. My setup all just got jacked up just as we were going live. But Chris, Patrick, how you guys doing?
So happy. Just loving the world right now and just thankful that that we're all together tonight and looking forward to a wonderful show.
That was effusive. I've never heard you like that.
I'm just in a great mood, Chris. I don't know what to say.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I hope everybody out there is in a great mood.
Are you in a great mood?
I'm in a pretty good mood. Yeah.
Well,
I had a little connection issue upstairs and maybe here too. So I don't know how stable I will be. And I don't mean, personality wise.
I don't know how stable I will be, and I do mean personality-wise.
Fair enough.
I can already tell this is gonna be a great episode. Chris, are you using
you are on a construction site? I see.
Yeah.
What is that background?
I'm waiting for the concrete to dry. I just buried a body over there. So no, I'm in my brother's basement. The last time, for those who've been watching for a while, that I streamed from this location, me and Patrick were interviewing the guy from Rasmussen Polling,
Mark Mitchell,
and that's when Patrick upset the entire boomer audience for his boomer comments.
I had a lot of boomers white knighting for me as well, by the way.
You did.
And Joanne Pappas wrote me a piece which I afterwards entitled "Sympathy for the Boomer," which I did on Reading Epic Threads. Fun times.
Anyway, should be a fun episode because of the topics, not just because of everybody's mood right now. Lot going on this week. It's been a full week since we did that coverage the night of Trump's the assassination attempt. So we're gonna have to talk about that and maybe some of the developments there. We'll talk about the vice presidential pick because there's an article. Who put that out? Whitney Webb, was that?
Whitney Webb,
That's the girl, Whitney Webb. Yep.
Yeah.
Unlimited Hangout Whitney herself, and she lives in Chile. And she was one of those people that was served up to us right after, in my opinion, she was kind of served up right after the stolen election.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. It's information. That's
it is, exactly.
I don't really care for Whitney Webb. I don't really know her.
I don't know her either. And I have nothing against her at all. Yeah. Just, suspicious timing on a lot of things, but I'm just a very suspicious guy.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the CrowdStrike stuff. Obviously, that's got some Devo-related connections, and yeah, we'll see what else. Hillary Clinton apparently is running again, according to the breaking news Twitter brigade. So maybe we can talk about that. Yeah, we'll see. But first, let's get to the sponsors of today's show. Patrick, do you mind reading some CB Distillery for us?
Oh, so we're going to do that first. Okay. Let me guess. Your medicine cabinet is crammed with stuff that doesn't work. You still aren't sleeping. You still hurt. And you're stressed out. That's how it was for me. So I cleared out my cabinet and reset my health with CBD from CB Distillery. It's been a real change. CB Distillery's targeted formulations are made from the highest quality, clean ingredients. No fluff, no fillers, just pure, effective CBD solutions designed to help support your health. In 2 non-clinical surveys, 81% of customers experienced more calm. 80% said CBD helped with pain after physical activity, and an impressive 90% said they slept better with CBD. If you struggle with a health concern and haven't found relief, make the change like I did to CB Distillery. And with over 2 million customers and a solid 100% money-back guarantee, CB Distillery is the source to trust. I have a 20% discount to get you started. Visit cbdistillery.com and use promo code DPH for 20% off. That's cbdistillery.com, code DPH. cbdistillery.com.
We also got Easy RX.
We'd like to thank the folks at Easy RX for sponsoring our show tonight. They've helped so many Badlanders get the medications they need without breaking the bank. As 2024 fires up for the summer and seems to be a rerun of 2020, it's the perfect time to stock up on the suppressed medications and get your family ready for anything they will throw at us. Easy RX has a wide variety of high-quality medications like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, fenbendazole, and so many more. The fake news is getting more exposed every day, and people are waking up to the truth about health and many inexpensive life-saving medications. You'll find them all right here at EasyRx. The process is simple, the shipping is fast, and prices are unbeatable. Breathe easy, knowing that you and your family are prepared for anything. Don't wait any longer. Visit badlandsmedia.tv/EasyRx and use promo code BADLANDS for 10% off your purchase of $150 or more. That's badlandsmedia.tv/EasyRx, promo code BADLANDS.
All right. Well, let's start it off with the assassination story, because I don't know what to make of this anymore. 1/3 of Democrats at this point think it was faked, and I feel like 1/3 of this panel right here thinks it might have been real, and I would be that 1/3. But I am curious where you guys fall on this right now, and I think we could have a pretty interesting discussion about it, because Chris, you talk about the morality of stuff a lot, and we've talked about the morality of devolution. I think the morality of faking an assassination attempt is like that's a line too far for me, a bridge too far. But we should discuss it, because this Saturday show, this is kind of our thing. I want to hear where you're at now. A week has gone by. They're passing it off as a Secret Service, whether it was an intentional lapse in judgment or failure, whatever. They're pinning it on them, and I'm curious what you guys think.
Well, I guess I'll take it first. At this point, it seems to me like it is directed as part of an exposure op for Kim Cheadle, who was next to Dick Cheney on 9/11. I can't imagine what she witnessed and what she knows. It's like in her Wikipedia entry, and I'm apparently the only one who's talking about it. I think that is directly related to what I was discussing last week, looking back at history with the Reagan assassination attempt, the John F. Kennedy assassination, George H.W. Bush intimately involved in both of those situations, allegedly, and of course George W. Right there on 9/11. And so if we are winding ever closer to these like really key historical stories that we've been lied to about them initially, and then they've been revised a number of times since then, to the point where no one has any idea what to believe. If we're actually trying to get back and track these stories and have some understanding of what they mean in our culture, then we kind of have to go back through these processes. And I think that this is an important gateway to that. And so it makes me wonder, are the people highlighting her for the last week, despite legitimately not knowing who the shooter is yet? The guy has no internet history, no background. It sounds like his parents don't even know him. That whole part of the story is crazy. Now, John, just to be clear, I'm not saying that the entire incident was fake. There's levels to it. And I spent 4.5 hours over 2 episodes this week talking about it on my podcast, Monday and Tuesday. So I suggest people listen to those if they want to get the long opinion about it. But man, there's a lot of ways to look at it. Some of them are obviously more threatening to Trump than others. I don't think that it was just entirely just Trump staged this thing. That's not how I feel about it, and I want to be clear about that. I don't know whether or not I would say I don't believe that he faked an assassination. I'm not to the point where I would ever say that. But there's so many elements of it that if it was about anyone other than Trump and anything other than that subject, I would probably be saying, look at this obviously fake thing that we are being shown to learn other lessons.
Patrick, can you read this line quick? And then I want to hear your response too.
The gunman also had virtually no social media or online footprint, forcing investigators to search his devices, including a laptop, 2 phones, and USB drives with a combined 4.5 terabytes of data.
How do you not have a social media or online footprint, but have 4.5 terabytes of data? That's an insane amount of data.
Maybe it's just all porn.
That's like all the porn in existence?
No,
Well,
it's
probably
not.
not.
Hell no. Nah, if it's high def, no way.
It's high def.
John, I just put a link in the StreamYard chat here. Let's pull this one up too, because the very end of this article is what I mean when I say it sounds like his parents didn't even know this guy. The very last line of the article is just crazy.
The shooter's parents, who have been cooperating with law enforcement since the assassination attempt, have said Crooks did not appear to have friends and did not appear to have any political leanings, the official said. So he's just a cipher.
I mean, how do
you stick figure?
Your parents don't know if you have friends or if you have political leanings? They're therapists, we're told.
Not very good ones.
Yeah,
I feel like they're trying to set this up as like he could have done this to either Trump or Biden. Like it wasn't just a let's go get Trump thing. It was let's just go get anybody thing. And that's how he's just kind of trying to frame it.
Well, that's very interesting. So, I mean, not to go too far, like outside of what people are comfortable thinking about and talking about, like this is going to be some pretty far out shit, but you got to look at it like that. I mean, one of the basic foundational premises for a lot of my arguments is the understanding that they do actually have it all. There is a place where all of the data is, and you got to assume at this point that both sides have access to that. And there's no reason to believe that if you have total information dominance, which maybe we do have by virtue of Space Force, it seems like Elon Musk is involved in terms of protecting our information space. If we do have all the information, then of course they would know when things like this are being set up. And if they are able to preempt events and then kind of change the polarity of those events, right? You mentioned I think everybody's assumed that there's at least some motivation there to get rid of Biden through that method and then blame it on a MAGA extremist. That's an ideal outcome for what they're concerned with doing. And so who knows if something was set up to go the other direction and all of those features have been reversed in some sort of op, man. I don't know. And there are ways that I can rationalize faking it. But again, I'm not sure that that's what happened. I just think that there's multiple other things going on. And the story that we're getting is fake. Like, I'm definitely comfortable saying that. There are huge elements of this story that are clearly fake. But that doesn't mean that Trump's lying about what happened, you know? And so it's this huge gray area, and it may not make sense to a lot of people. And I totally understand. I haven't looked at the chat, but it could be going crazy. I don't know. But there's a lot wrong with this.
Yeah, I like how you said that. I mean, just because Trump isn't telling somebody the full truth, like the full truth of what happened, doesn't mean he's necessarily lying. Like, I personally think he got hit more than once. Like, I think he got hit in like the Kevlar or something that he was wearing.
Totally
but they're not releasing that. I've seen the narrative right now.
In that case, would you then still believe that it's got this guy Thomas Matthew Crooks? Or, I mean, we're hearing from the people analyzing the audio that there's at least 2 shooters and maybe 3. And, you know, no one has an answer to this hard and fast. We're told that talking about 2 or 3 is a conspiracy theory, and we just have to go with the one because that's what they said. I mean, you got to be able to ask questions, no matter how important the issue is. In fact, the more important the issue is, the more questions you should be asking.
The Secret Service actually came out now because it was like trending really quickly that there was 2 shooters, and then the Secret Service now came out and said, well, there were 3 total like sources of shots fired. Okay, and but one of them was like the local police sniper trying to hit the guy and he missed, and then the other shot was from the Secret Service sniper or something actually hitting the guy, and then the other source was the shooter. But that's a pretty convenient way to cover up the fact that maybe there was actually 2 other like enemy shooters and just the one guy who got taken out. You know what I mean? And so
that's right.
that stuff I could believe. Maybe there was a setup. Maybe there were two shooters involved. How they didn't actually hit Trump, or maybe they did in the side and they're not releasing that. I don't know. Because the fact that 8 shots got fired or whatever, 5 shots from the bad guy and only one of them almost hit Trump, that it seems, it just seems implausible, especially because he like hesitated as more shots were coming, you know, before he actually dropped. I don't know, man.
The people who were, you know, I went through some of the what we're told is eyewitness testimony from the event on Saturday. And there was a guy talking about how, and sorry to be disgusting, but that someone got their brains blown out from the back of their head, and a towel was placed over his head and they carried him off. So in an assassination event of an American president, they're just like clearing dead people out of the scene immediately and not trying to figure out. I mean, did they photograph the guy first? Was there a team there to properly mark all this evidence? Or did they just throw a towel over his head and move him away? You had video of them taking him away? I haven't seen that.
Carrying him out. You haven't seen that?
Oh, no,
okay.
No.
I'll see if I can find it. I mean,
I hope it looks better than when they carried off that the guy who set himself on fire.
Before we jump into the nitty-gritty of video quote-unquote evidence, I'd like to make a larger point about the narrative structure that we've seen change with this assassination event. I've always said that major events have an official story, a conspiracy theory story, and then both of those are false. And then there's a third story that's the truth. Now we have a more complex paradigm. Now we have the official story, then we have the left-wing conspiracy theory, and then the right-wing conspiracy theory. And that is kind of where it's sitting right now. I'll give you an example of what I think the left-wing conspiracy theory is. So I have heard, and I don't know if this is true, but there is a poll purporting that approximately 1 in 3 Democrats think Donald Trump faked that. Okay? So their conspiracy theory is that Donald Trump hired some people to just nick his ear with a bullet. Okay, so that's not a thing. That can't be true. Donald Trump could do all the devious shit he wanted to. I can tell you one thing he didn't do. He didn't hire anybody to just nick his ear with a rifle.
Yes, well, but
that's
Patrick,
not a thing.
But then they would just say that's not how his ear. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, but so that's the straw man attack on that conspiracy theory, and it is very much a straw man. It's ridiculous that is the rejoinder to that. And then on the right, the conspiracy theory, in my opinion, has something to do with the deep state trying to get Donald Trump killed. Now, there are a bunch of different versions of that, but we are being served up a whole bunch of evidence that indicates to me that we are meant to believe that the Secret Service tried to get Donald Trump killed. I think that's strongly implied in the stuff that we're being served.
Yeah.
And I don't want to accept either one of those conspiracy theories at all. I also don't accept the official story. Right now, what I'm doing is just trying to eliminate some stuff that I know is not true. Here's something I know is not true. I don't think Donald Trump would allow himself to be unguarded the way he was under these circumstances. Donald Trump has been a target of assassinations his entire life. This guy knows about protecting himself. So I don't find it in any way credible that he was just this babe in the woods allowing his Secret Service to be removed from him. So that's one of the things I try to eliminate. Other than that, I've got a whole bunch of stories being told to me over the internet. Now, doesn't mean I think those stories are false. It means that I have to take a big, deep breath before I consume any of these stories, because you don't necessarily know when you're being messed with, when you're being deceived.
It's frustrating too, because this is one of those things we're probably never going to get the full true story on. And so these conspiracy theories or whatever, the stories we're hearing that we know aren't the truth are going to be circulating till the end of time. We're never going to get the truth on it. But also there is a benefit to the story that Trump is telling, whether or not it's the full truth of the story or whatever. Like the narrative that he survived an assassination attempt and stood up and did the 3 fist bumps, like that has catapulted his campaign. And I mean, it's been good, but I do want to play that video quick to show you. This is the video I saw. This came out like pretty quickly. This is allegedly, I think it's Joe Comparatore or whatever. I don't know how to say his name.
Corey.
Comparatore. It rhymes.
Are you guys okay?
What?
There you go.
I need to see that again, John. I'm so sorry. That was shocking.
Yeah, that's wild.
I can't believe you guys haven't seen this yet.
It's 51 seconds. And we have this.
Is that an American flag towel? What is that?
I don't know.
I mean,
and there's another one where like everybody is yelling, like he got shot in the head.
Where was his? Where do we have diagrams of where these people are located? And
yeah,
so
I can find a good one for you.
That would be really good to know, to try to understand this. That's one of the first things that I said to myself. We've been analyzing the Kennedy assassination for 50 years. We should at least analyze this for a week before we start drawing conclusions.
Mm-hmm. Give me a second. I want to find one more video if I can.
I don't know. Somebody in the chat just says that is not how they treat victims. I don't know what to say about what I just saw in that video, but I've never been a victim extractor, so I don't know. But it did seem rather like they were treating him like a rag doll. So there is that. I would love to interview every single person that we can find in that group. Every single one of those people needs to speak publicly. That's the kind of stuff that can give us real understanding of what actually happened.
Okay, let's check this out. This is a good 3D model of what went down. It's about 2 minutes long.
Here you can see the 3 victims that were injured by gunfire and where they were standing in the bleachers. We're going to turn around and demonstrate exactly where these bullets came from. This model represents Thomas Crooks. His position can be seen here in this image, which illustrates exactly where he was. Turning around, we can see the path of all the bullets that were fired from this location. I placed a 10-foot red disc downrange to represent what an average shooter could hit easily. Now let's take a look at this first shot fired. Coming from our key location, bullet 1 grazes President Trump's ear. This is the same bullet that hits a spectator in the stands. We know this through video evidence. As President Trump is talking, the first shot rings out just after he says, "Take a look at what happened."
Something to say. Take a look at what happened.
We can see the vapor trail of a bullet strike, which is the same bullet that struck President Trump's ear a split second earlier, and this video is this location here. Back at the podium, President Trump is shot and grabs his ear, falling to the ground as more shots rang out. In total, there were 7 or 8 shots, so let's rewind and watch this at regular speed.
Take a look at what happened.
With all that gunfire, it's easy to understand how these spectators were injured, even though they were not the target, including the sole spectator who lost his life that day.
Who's the guy in blue right there?
In blue?
These are the three other people who got
As
hit.
we circle around, we can see how all the paths of the bullets were hitting in the location of this forklift machine, causing one of the hydraulic hoses to burst.
That was top-notch stuff.
Yep. I don't know, man. Patrick, you look like a broken man right now.
I don't mean to be. I don't mean to. I really don't. I am perplexed beyond belief here.
I think you said it best before the show. You said something along the lines of like, if this was truly some sort of security failure, then like Trump needs to answer to how he would allow that to happen. It was something like that. Maybe I said it more harshly than you did. Probably not, though.
I was quite harsh. I said, if Donald Trump allowed this security lapse to happen, he needs to explain himself. The buck stops with him when it comes to the security of the president of the United States. And he allowed himself to be left unguarded like that?
I mean, it's not him personally going out and like checking the security stuff, but it's the people around him, right?
Dude, he knows who the good security people are, and he knows that the frickin' Melissa McCarthy imitation squad is not going to guard him. It's a freaking outrage what we saw there.
This is a very good rendition of a plausible theory, I suppose, to the extent that what we have been generally told otherwise is true. You know, that's what this is modeling. It's not modeling what happened. It's modeling that theory of what happened and making the case to us that there are these two indicators that this is what happened. The hose bursting on the hydraulic machine, whatever that was, a crane, I guess, and the puff of smoke or vapor or whatever they called it on that first shot. If it's not that, and it probably is not that, then that rendition, that artist rendering in 3D is not actually a diagram of anything. We had Secret Service agents in the building below him. That is what we are told, correct? He was on the downside of that slope. They have him up over the edge of the slope. Indications are that's not where he was. I'm going with what I've been told by the TV screen. Still no explanation for why he would have been left there for 26 minutes to do this. I mean, still no explanation for that. Still no explanation for multiple shooters. That covered all of the gunshots that were taken. And we don't know that he took all the gunshots. Yep. So that is a very compelling rendering of the story we've been told, but it is not required to have any relation to what actually happened.
Of course.
There's also this water tower video that people keep posting. I don't know if I don't know. I mean, it's hard to even know if this is actually from the event, but it does appear there's somebody on top of that water tower.
Is that water tower along the same line of sight that allegedly hit Donald Trump in the ear?
It would be like if you, in this video we just watched,
it would be
able to see it.
Yeah. It's further back, Patrick, from where the shooter is said to be located. And
way further back, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
It's right there on the right side.
Yes, it's a considerably longer shot.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know.
I don't either, guys. I just need some more time because, like I said, 50 years to figure out the Kennedy assassination, and we never really did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if I think I talked about this on Sunday on Telegram, but I've said many times that I think the same playbook is playing out over and over and over again around the world, cyclically throughout history, different locations, slightly different timeline. Now they all seem to be converging at the same timeline, but in that playbook, it's meant to destabilize and impoverish countries, weaken them so that more infiltration can be done. Then they flood in the money behind that to make the infiltrators look like they're the best people to ever govern a nation, and then the cycle repeats itself. They have to use the same playbook over and over and over again because they have brainwashed and traumatized everyone in the same way to respond to the same signals. So they have to hit all of the same emotional points as they play through the playbook. This is the same way that story structures are designed for novels and films and television shows, and then television series outside of a given episode. It's like from the smallest unit to the largest unit, they replay and hit all these same notes because this is what people are accustomed to dealing with as they are told stories. This is just the cycle of things. And so when we go back and look at some of these unsolved events like Reagan and like Kennedy, we should take what we're seeing now and compare that in parallel to some of these past events. And what we will see in the past events is information gleaned from this event will fill in certain gaps back then. And a lot of times you don't even need the gaps filled in. You just need the positive or negative on certain variables to become clear, because all of the facts of every side have already been written. And it's amazing how they fall into place. And we can also, in the opposite direction, take what we know about those two events and apply them in parallel to what we're seeing now. And a lot of those pieces will very likely fall in place as well. And, considering how strange this is, it is at least in part a narrative operation. It's entirely possible that there was, let's say this, I don't know even if this is plausible, but let's say that there was another shooter off to the side, and that person was actually taken out by the guy up on the rooftop who happened to be an expert sniper and was known to be in that position so that they could take out the would-be assassin. And this is just not revealing the rest of the plot while the Con Inc. op spins itself out and the leftists go crazy because they know that they're looking at something that's not really all there. So there are ways that things could happen that we are not going to consider because we're all like studying the details of this kid's life when his parents don't even know it.
Yeah, huge.
I think it's important too to see how Trump and the current Senate majority is treating and approaching this, because everybody right now is going after Kim Cheadle, and you would think if this was a legitimate thing that Trump had faked, like they would want to publicly release everything they had, all the information, all this stuff, because it would exonerate the Secret Service. But instead, we're getting Secret Services and Kim Cheadle. They're allegedly communicating with each other on Signal, trying to hide stuff so that doesn't get FOIA'd. There's rumors that she is resigning by Monday. Not a single source for any one of those stories as of this point, but she is allegedly going to be testifying in front of Congress or Senate or somebody on Monday. It does seem like they are culpable in some fashion, which, again, in my opinion, I don't think that would be the case if this was something that, unless it was something that they were responsible for, whether a legit attempt or incompetence, intentional or not, whatever. I don't think we would be seeing them react the way they are, especially considering she's a Cheney associate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and who knows? Maybe she's telling all about what she's observed behind the scenes. And this is just to bring her to public prominence. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
John, I put in the private chat an X link, hat tip to... Sorry, I already forgot your chat handle, but put it in the chat. It's Donald Trump responding to Jesse Waters.
Oh, yeah, I was going to play this.
Okay, because I haven't seen it. And I'm glad he's answering that question.
Here we go.
Let's see what he says.
This guy for an hour beforehand. No one told you not to take the stage?
No, nobody mentioned it. Nobody said there was a problem. And I would have waited for 15. They could have said, let's wait for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 5.
Wasn't he like an hour late to this one, the way it was?
I have no idea.
Was this
6 p.m.?
I'm pretty sure he started an hour late.
Okay, so he was supposed to start so it was 7 p.m. Pennsylvania time. So he was supposed to start at 6, I guess. He's an hour late.
I'll play this and I'll confirm that.
Okay. A minute something. Nobody said, I think that was a mistake. How did somebody get on that roof? And why wasn't he reported? Because people saw that he was on the roof. I mean, you had Trumpers screaming the woman in the red shirt, she was screaming, "There's a man on the roof!" And then other people said, "There's a man on the roof who's got a gun," and that was quite a bit before I walked onto the stage. So you would have thought somebody would have done something about it.
Former President Trump saying for the first time, exclusively to Jesse Waters Primetime, that no one warned him not to take the stage, even though they knew it was a threat. There was a threat, and it was this guy almost an hour beforehand. The Secret Service under mounting pressure following the assassination attempt of former President Trump on Saturday. 1 week later, we still have very few answers about the shooter, the motive, and the stunning security lapses. Something we have learned: 20-year-old Thomas Crooks likely flew a drone over the fairgrounds in Butler, Pennsylvania, just hours before Trump took the stage in front of tens of thousands of people. Officials say the predetermined path suggests Crooks flew the drone more than once to scope out the event site. At least 4 congressional committees are planning to probe the security failures that allowed him to gain access to the nearby rooftop that he fired from. Republican Senator Josh Hawley says he's heard from multiple whistleblowers.
The idea that you could have all of this time elapse and nobody notices, no law enforcement notices he's on the roof. Whistleblowers tell me that law enforcement were actually on different channels, different radio communication channels. There were multiple different channels and they weren't coordinated.
We need answers. The director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, expected to face tough questions when she testified.
They were monitoring.
Okay, and here's
This is a big, beautiful crowd. Trump was initially scheduled to go on stage at 5 p.m. Eastern time, but he was running late. It wasn't until 6:02 p.m. that Greenwood's "God Bless the USA" began blaring. So 6:02 p.m. Eastern time.
An hour late.
I could have sworn that I heard about the thing 6 p.m. Central time. Anyway.
No. Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, Trump's answer to the question is troubling at best. He said, "I don't know. Who knows? They got up there somehow. Fuck me." It was not the answer of somebody who was an executive in charge of things. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to disparage Donald Trump, but that is not the Donald Trump I know saying, whatevs. They fucked shit up, didn't they?
Yeah, Secret Service has allegedly been denying his requests for 2 years now for more beefed up security, which is another interesting story. And we have Robert O'Brien confirming that too, because they all left with Secret Service, like a bunch of these guys, a bunch of the Devo guys. They've had it since, but apparently the last couple of years they've been paying for their own extra security.
He is a multi-billionaire.
Yeah.
He has been an assassination threat his entire life. He is a master of protecting himself. The stuff this guy's good at, that's one of the things he's going to get right. And he just apparently did not pay any attention to it whatsoever and is completely at the mercy of Secret Service that are deployed by the Biden administration. I'm sorry. Once again, and I've said this before, I reject that as impossible.
Yeah. I get it, but there's only so far we can go with trying to dig ourselves on this topic on Twitter, but I feel like we're going to find out more. This next week is going to be very interesting in terms of what happens with Kim Cheadle and her testimony and what other information comes out. It seems like every day we get more pieces to whatever puzzle they're trying to put together for us, at least whatever story they're trying to tell us. So we'll see what happens. Chris, you have one more thing you want to say? It looks like.
Well, yeah, about the Jesse Waters video. So this just caught my ear today watching the rally speech this afternoon. He said he's calling his supporters now Trumpers, and he said it in that video as well. And I don't recall him ever having said that. I don't remember him ever posting it on Twitter or Truth Social. And I'm not saying that it's never happened. I'm saying I don't recall it. I've never heard him use that language. And gosh, man, I think that I see most of what he says and hear most of the rally speeches. Maybe people in the chat, hey, if you know that he said Trumpers before, or you want to look it up on Twitter or Truth and let us know, please do.
Yeah, I've never heard that either, though. Isn't there an account that everything Trump posts?
The archive, Trump archive. Let me see if I can find it.
Not the archives.
Well, QAG.news has all of the everything posts.
Okay. Let me do one quick search. There's this one account on Twitter that posts everything he says on True Social over to Twitter.
I'm working real
Never
hard.
Trumpers, never Trumpers, never Trumpers. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm working real hard to try to kind of impart my strategy of not drawing conclusions this early. And I'm just looking at the chat, and there are just bunches of you saying, this clearly happened, like at the top of your lungs. And it's just not helpful. You have to treat every piece of so-called evidence with skepticism. See, there we go. Everett Mitchell, Patrick needs to stop this nonsense. It's just...
Especially in a narrative war, guys. I mean, we know for sure this is a narrative war, information war. There is the information coming from both sides, and we're kind of stuck in the middle, having to try to discern what is true when both sides have not only the ability to basically frame our line of thinking, but also it benefits them to frame it a certain way. You know what I mean? So it is possible that there was some level of, whether maybe it's not fake, but maybe we're not getting the whole truth. We're certainly not getting the whole truth about this whole thing. And that's Patrick's approach here isn't wrong in any way. Go ahead.
So let's think about it as though it was staged. There are two ways to think about this in my mind that both provide plausible justifications. The first would be, and I think that we've actually kind of discussed this framing before, particularly with the Russia-Ukraine conflict that we know has been ongoing since 2014, or that was happening since 2014, to the extent that we know any of this stuff. I think about, so when I was like a teenager, we used to watch this show called Rescue 911. Patrick, did you ever see that? Do you remember that? So it was this.
Yeah, it was like
Stacy. Stacy Keach. It came out kind of the same time as like Cops, like Bad Boys,
Mm-hmm.
And so Stacy Keach was the host, if I'm not mistaken. And they would have like home break-ins and burglaries where someone calls 911 and the guy's just about to get them and the cops show up and save the day, kind of thing. And they would do these reenactments every week. It wouldn't be, because nobody had cameras all throughout their home or anything back then. So you would never be seeing live footage. You would be seeing a reenactment of what happened. And I think we're seeing reenactments every now and then. And Trump's obviously, there have probably been countless attempts on Trump's life. So for him to show us one, what if, for instance, the Biden assassination event that people have been discussing, oh, now they're going to take out Biden and pin it on MAGA. Well, if that happened, Patrick and I would watch that event and be like, that is clearly fake. Insofar as they're telling us that a MAGA extremist is responsible for this, this is a false flag and we'll prove it. That would be completely implausible for us to get away with in the instance where that happened. And this has now just blown the doors off any ability to allow a narrative like that to be shamed into silence in our culture. And so that just in particular, I think, seems like a plausible justification for that. And to the extent that these things have happened before, what he's doing then is taking an event that we would not even understand as being capable. We wouldn't understand the emotional societal impact. We wouldn't understand the MAGA reaction to something like that without this happening. So, I mean, I try to be as charitable to all angles of this as possible when we're talking about it. Because the truth is, man, there's not a single detail of this that anybody knows for damn sure. Not one. And it's been a week.
And here's the thing too. I actually disagree with Patrick on this. Like I do think it was legit. He got lucky. God saved him. That is where I'm at. I disagree with Patrick, but I understand.
Before you say that, What do you disagree with me on? Because I don't recall making a claim.
Okay, that's a good point. But you do seem like, okay, well, make a claim. Do you think it was faked, or do you think? Well, can you make a claim? Like, what do you think?
I work very hard not to make claims. I work very hard to say these are the things I think are impossible. One thing I think is impossible. I don't think Donald Trump would allow that to happen security-wise. That's a claim I'm making. I think Donald Trump did not allow that.
Then what do you believe? Like, you have to have some sort of belief.
No, I don't.
Out of this.
No, I don't.
You do. You're just not going to say it.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all. This is a very important epistemological point that I'm making. I work very hard not to come to a conclusion when I'm talking about an event that I'm watching on a television in a world where literally everything can be a lie. So I have to just start from first principles every single time. If you may recall from a debate I had with Steve Kirsch about viruses, he was just begging me to tell him what got his wife sick. And I won't, because I have no idea. I feel pretty confident that Donald Trump is not the kind of operator who would allow that level of security lapse to happen.
But it is possible.
Pretty much all I got.
But it is possible.
Anything's possible.
So even that is like, you don't know. None of us know. Maybe that's the point. None of us know.
A point that I have made.
Patrick saying things that the audience doesn't like is okay.
Just don't like that I'm not parroting their conclusions.
That's the thing, and that does get frustrating. Like, people, we get it all the time in our chats or on Twitter, social media. Like, why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you talking about this? We're going to talk about the things we want to talk about. If you want to have people tell you what you want to hear, I don't know. Go listen to. I'm not going to tell you to go listen to anybody. Never mind.
Another part of this that has to be mentioned is that, to the extent that people have gained the maximum amount of information on this, all of that information has come from the same sources. So you have and again, it's possible that this is the first time in history that the television is telling us the right thing about what happened. It's totally possible that the story that's being told by Dan Bongino, for instance, is right. Okay? It's right. That's possible. But to the extent that you've just taken in every piece of data throughout the entire week and analyzed it with every other piece of data and understood it from all the different angles and know who everybody's name is and what their background is and all that stuff, you've still just taught yourself everything about what's being said about this situation. And none of that stuff actually has to be in any reality-based way attached to the situation. And so, I don't know. Yeah, John, I would agree with Patrick on this, on the epistemological claim. Like, it's important not to form beliefs until you have an adequate amount of information, which requires, in my mind, an argument from pure reason about what is actually possible and impossible, as well as some sort of direct evidence. And right now, there's no conclusion that can be drawn from either of those sources. What we have is we saw something happen, don't know what that thing is, and people who get paid a hell of a lot of money have given us a new piece of the narrative each day as part of a coordinated rollout. And that's real tough to deal with in a situation like this where people's emotions are engaged and they want to have someone to blame and want to know what can be done about this thing. You know, right now we're told, let's blame the Secret Service. How do we fix it? Vote. I mean, what are you supposed to do with that as a thinking person?
It is kind of funny because, like, a lot of people they're questioning some of the established narrative, right? Like, they're questioning it to a degree, but it's like, if you question it too far, then it's not okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that is pretty interesting, but we will move on. We'll move on. So apparently,
I'm going to say one more quick thing.
Okay, here we go.
I think Trump is signaling to us that the desired narrative, because this is a war of stories, hat tip burning bright, the desired narrative is the friggin' Secret Service left him high and dry. So let's friggin' nail this Cheadle character to the wall, because that's probably part of what needs to be accomplished by this operation.
we question pretty much everything we're being told, and so I don't know. It happens on our side with the story that Trump is telling us, and then we get people upset over it. But whatever. Let's move on to, I don't know. Should we do the JD Vance thing? Because this could get deep here. There's a story put out by Whitney Webb, and it's a pretty compelling dig on Peter Thiel, and there's some interesting stuff to it as well. Because where the heck did I put this link? Here we go. Because they even bring up continuity of government and stuff. And I don't want to just have you read this whole thing, Patrick, but let's read the first 2 paragraphs of this, and then I'm going to skip through a couple things. So if you want to, did I not share my screen? You see that, Patrick?
I see it. Okay, so say that one more time.
Just read the first 2 paragraphs.
You got it. Is this from Whitney Webb?
This is Whitney Webb's. Yep.
Unlimitedhangout.com.
Let me show the title of this too.
Of course. Unlimited Hangout, Whitney Webb, the man behind Trump's VP pick. It's worse than you think. I'm just going to say, is Peter Thiel really the boogeyman that she's going to make him out to be?
I don't know. I think you could interpret it either way. I don't know.
Let's find out. All right. After the recent revelation that Donald Trump had selected J.D. Vance as his vice president, public attention not only turned toward Vance, but also to the billionaire Peter Thiel. Vance has been one of several prominent Thiel proteges whose profile has risen in recent years, with other proteges of the PayPal co-founder, including OpenAI's Sam Altman and Anduril's Palmer Luckey. I don't know what Anduril is, so I probably need to look into that. Recent reports have also noted that Thiel first recruited Vance into his circle while Vance was still a student at Yale Law School. Shortly thereafter, Vance joined Thiel's investment firm Mithril Capital, where he worked for 2 years before joining Revolution Ventures. Vance played a major role in Revolution's Rise of the Rest seed fund, whose major investors included Amazon's Jeff Bezos and the Walton family of Walmart, who boast long-standing deep ties to the Clinton family. Vance later launched his own venture capital firm, Naria Capital, in 2020, which was heavily funded by Thiel, as well as former Google CEO Eric Schmidt.
Yeah, and
holy shit.
Yeah, Thiel and Elon Musk started PayPal together, and then at some point, Thiel and I can't remember who the other guy was, ended up booting Musk out of his CEO role. And so I don't know if they're still friends or what, but let me get down to here. This is the part where they start. Let's do these 2 paragraphs, because this is where it gets into a little bit of continuity of government.
And by the way, Chris put a pretty cool link in the private chat. All right. So you want me to hit this next paragraph, right?
Yep.
Unlimited Hangout has reported extensively on Thiel and Palantir for several years. As noted in past reports, the company was created to be the privatized version of a post-9/11 surveillance program that had been dreamt up by the Iran-Contra criminals responsible for the unconstitutional main core database. During the Reagan administration, the individuals at the heart of the Iran-Contra scandal developed a database called Main Core, which firmly placed the U.S. national security state on its current tech-fueled path for crushing dissent. A senior government official with a high-ranking security clearance and service in 5 presidential administrations told Radar in 2008 that Main Core was, quote, a database of Americans who, often for the slightest and most trivial reason, are considered unfriendly and who, in a time of panic, might be incarcerated. The database can identify and locate perceived enemies of the state almost instantaneously.
That's us. Sorry, keep going.
Okay.
Here, before you do that, let me play this clip from. This is what you posted. Elon Musk shared this tweet, question the blob narrative, and there's a video here. You want to read this, and I'll play the video?
Absolutely. Arjun Kamani on Twitter. Peter Thiel. I went to the World Economic Forum in Davos.
Hold on. Sorry. I think he says this in the video.
Okay, very well then.
I went to the World Economic Forum in Davos the last time in 2013, and one of the and of course they have the same ideas as the mob. In some ways, it is a mob. It is and people are there only in their capacity as representatives of corporations or of governments or of NGOs. And it really hit me. There are simply no individuals. There are no individuals in the room. There's nobody there who's representing themselves. And it's this notion of the future I reject. It's this picture of the future where the future will be a world where there are no individuals, there are no people with ideas of their own. There's nobody to say, this is wrong, this doesn't make sense, and I'm going to think differently. I'm going to think for myself. I went to the World Economic Forum.
So Elon's tweet here is in support of what he's saying, right?
Okay.
Well, question the blob narrative. I mean, that can be taken in various ways. I just started the book, The Sovereign Individual, the other day. And to be fair, I'm 20 pages into this thing. But Peter Thiel wrote the foreword in an edition that was released in either 2020 or 2021. And the book so far, it seems to be, it was written, I believe in 1999. They were worrying about the changes that would come from kind of Y2K, from the introduction of the information age, when it finally blooms into its full capacity as it is now. And they were essentially talking, it seemed like the situation being described. And someone in the chat, if you've read this book and you can correct me, by all means, go ahead and do so. One of the writers is an establishment British MP. I believe he's a Tory. But the perspective seems to be this massive globalist plan of complete and total control. And then if you are clever enough and have the wherewithal, you can also live outside of that as a sovereign individual and actually make yourself a totally incredible life if you were really just ready to seize the day of what this world will provide. And, Thiel has been a Trump supporter. He's obviously basically, I don't want to say puppet master because I don't know what his relationship with J.D. Vance is like, but he has propelled J.D. Vance's work career and obviously political career that has to be taken into account. And at some point, it's going to come down to, do these guys represent the GOP establishment or are they Trump guys? And that difference is a monumental difference when we're looking at the controlled information operation that has essentially either been funded or run. In Whitney Webb's telling, you would hear her tell you that Peter Thiel has been the guy pulling the strings of all of this information operation, everyone from Tucker to Alex Jones, coordination with Elon, of course, down through Vivek Ramaswamy and J.D. Vance, through, gosh, man, Dave Rubin in the Daily Wire and the rest of it. I mean,
Mike Cernovich.
Cernovich, absolutely. All of that has been totally aligned in their viewpoint for the last 4 years. And they have rolled out the based and red pill narrative to create this new alternative mainstream media. And it turns out that they were already all in mainstream media before 2020 as well. But now they're independent.
Yeah, but they're resurging. Like the fact that Cernovich is back on Tucker of all places out of nowhere. Like what the hell? That's too weird. That's almost, if that's not a red flag for you guys, he's the one telling you to mask up. He's the one pro DeSantis, anti-Trump for a long time. He's been, he tried. It's almost like he tried making anti-Trump or anti-MAGA even in some ways, the hipster thing. Then he disappears when Biden wins, and now that Trump's got all this steam again coming back in the picture, here he is, guys. I had my coming out party with Tucker Carlson today or a couple days ago. That's weird timing.
Yeah,
extremely.
But the thing about Thiel that's difficult is you can look at this too. You can almost look at it, and I think it's almost the way Kyle explained it on, or maybe not just Kyle. We had a discussion on Wednesday's Power Hour about how, I mean, man, this seems very devolution-y, this Peter Thiel connection, all this stuff. But then you look at it the way Whitney Webb does, and it's holy shit, this guy might be establishment deep state. It's hard to know.
Well, it's not only him either, because it's his partner, Joe Lonsdale, it's David Sachs, it's Mark Andreessen. All of a sudden, all of the billionaire tech oligarchs who told everybody that they voted for Joe Biden in 2020 are now all on the team. And the entire Con Inc. media op just can't stop talking about how great JD Vance is. These tech oligarchs are just very excited to vote for Trump. And all good, man, all good. Maybe that's just the program. And we have to hope that at some point our new elites and our God Kings here on earth will stop lying. You know, if this is all an op to wake up the normies and prevent civil war, again, we've gone through all the justifications, and I'm still on board with that if that's what it is. But if that's what it is, at some point it requires everybody to stop lying, because otherwise what we have is a parallel to the exact thing that we have ostensibly been fighting the whole time. You know, so at some point it actually does have to end, or we just live in a different world of fakery with a different brand name attached to it. And we've all gladly walked ourselves in there cheering one another.
Burning Bright just said we're being liberated by Boromirs to pave the way for Aragorns.
Wonderful. If that is true, then wonderful. A very well done Lord of the Rings reference. Patrick, perhaps you'd like to explain.
Well, I think what that means is pretty simple. Boromir was the son of Gondor, who was kind of the favored son of the steward of Gondor, and he was a flawed man. You know, he was given into temptation to chase the ring. He was an imperfect man, but still a good man. Aragorn was the man who was truly good and didn't have big flaws. Heroic, purely heroic, Aragorn, and deeply flawed, Boromir. And right now, we may be watching a bunch of deeply flawed characters helping to usher us into a new era to pave the way for the truly heroic leaders that we will get out of that time.
Okay, but what does that mean for... Where did he say this at? Was it a Twitter post?
No, it's private chat.
Oh, okay.
So I probably should. Anyway.
I'm just trying to process that.
I think what he's saying is that, like, these people are all kind of just getting us to the next stage. Like it's necessary that they're here, and then it will be necessary that they're not here in some way because it needs to take that next step. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not. I don't know. It might just be that we have two parallel things running alongside one another, and people are just going to have to make their own choices and hopefully have the space to be able to do that. In the meantime, we are still censored.
Yeah, but my concern would be, like, to use that reference, like, how do we know we're going to end up with Aragorn? And are we okay with flawed people doing flawed things to get us to this a result that we aren't even sure is guaranteed to us? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That is the question.
And so, like, how can we be okay with the flawed stuff happening by the flawed people if we don't know that we're getting the not flawed stuff at the end? So I think we can still question the flawed stuff on the way.
100%. And a better question, or not even a better question, an extension of your question is, if this is about handing power back to the people, why did we just have our ruler for 2028 selected for us by one person? Or one person on behalf of a whole lot of powerful people who are just the controlled opposition of what it is we believe we're fighting.
Yeah, and we're even told that it was Peter Thiel and Tucker Carlson and Elon Musk who were in Trump's ear telling him to pick this guy. And another thing about I went through the RNC bylaws, and I'm pretty sure he was, like, elected by... How do we know if it was even Trump's guy? Because the way they do it is, like, we vote on, or I nominate JD Vance, and then it was seconded, and then all of a sudden they put him on stage. Like, if they said, hey, this is the guy we're going to nominate and put forth, like, you better just get on board, Trump. I mean, technically, does Trump even have a say in how this goes down according to the RNC rules, a private corporation?
Well, he does. He may well have preempted their announcement of it and taken it upon himself, as he often does, because he'll false start their narrative so that he can seize narrative control of it at any point.
For sure.
It's also important to remember that this is a fake election.
100%.
The 2020 election is not resolved. And anybody who's satisfied to just have a vice president named for them so that we can get on to the next fake election and pretend we're going to win it through doing that, I don't understand that at all. And you can be happy about JD Vance. You can trust Trump and know that Trump is making the right decisions. That is unexplainable that we can just move on from an election with no guarantee the new one will be fixed and think that's fine. By the way, Trump again said today, we don't need the votes. We have plenty of votes. We need to guard the vote. And I think it's also worth mentioning, and I'll try to do it quickly, that there are two things that we need to be able to have a legitimate election and legitimately select a leader. And people should be more concerned, not be just about the Trump thing, state elections, local elections, all of that matters as well. And unless you want to have a Congress and Senate that go in there to subvert Trump's next term, those elections can be stolen. And we don't even talk about what that would be like. So you would need to have a system that can actually give you verifiable, transparent, legitimate, reliable results on time that will not be questioned. And anyone who questions them can go see how legitimate they are. That's number one. Number two is that we need to reach a critical mass of public buy-in so that people will want to adopt the new system. And every time we pretend that an election is going to be free and fair and safe and secure, and the reported results will accurately reflect the will and intent of the voter, we are counteracting what needs to happen to accomplish number two. We are making it impossible to fix our elections by being so dependent on the results of fake elections.
Yeah. It's funny because even the people in our movement who know that 2020 was rigged, who know in concept these elections are fake, they will make comments like, oh gosh, Kamala couldn't possibly win. Nobody's going to vote for her. Or things like, if they pass over Kamala, then all the black women won't vote for the Democrats and they'll lose. It's like weird. They start hallucinating real elections randomly right in front of you. And I become a bit of a broken record saying, what black women voters are you talking about? Because there are no voters. There's just a ballot printing machine.
Also, with this CrowdStrike news, and this might actually be a good say. We didn't really go far down that rabbit hole of the Whitney Webb article. Maybe we can save that for another episode. But the CrowdStrike thing, like maybe that's a reminder to us of like how fake our elections are, because that going out and affecting air travel and 911 and like everything all over the country. And then I've done some research on this. I have articles on this. Patrick, can you read this quick?
I certainly can. Federal program offers new cybersecurity tool for elections, August 4th, 2020. John's birthday, also Obama's birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
Atlanta, state and local officials are receiving additional tools from the federal government to help defend the nation's election systems from cyber threats ahead of the November vote, as intelligence officials continue to warn about foreign efforts to interfere in the U.S. election under a $2.2 million pilot program that began in March. The Department of Homeland Security Cybersecurity Agency, in partnership with the Center for Internet Security, CIS, has been deploying software to election offices. It is then placed on devices, including laptops and servers, used for voter registration and reporting vote totals to detect malicious activity. The program was highlighted during a congressional hearing Tuesday.
And then
right before the election, they deploy software.
And then there's this.
CIS partners with CrowdStrike on cybersecurity platform protecting local governments. The new CIS Endpoint Security Services, ESS, platform is built for U.S. state, local, tribal, and territorial SLTT governments. CIS has been working for years to democratize cybersecurity protection through a variety of programs that provide free or low-cost tools to hospitals, schools, and more. The new CIS Endpoint Security Services, ESS platform, which is backed by CrowdStrike's tools, is built to identify, detect, and respond to security alerts from local governments. Through CrowdStrike's Falcon system, the company will offer ESS users deployments onto endpoint devices. The platform provides antivirus solutions, endpoint detection and response, asset and software inventory, USB device monitoring, user account monitoring, and host-based firewall management.
And guys, it was CrowdStrike that just crashed all over the country. all over the world. Like, they're in our election machines. And they've been seeding narratives of China hacking our infrastructure and all these things with the ports and everything. Like, we're not even sure we're going to have an election this year. Yet we're talking about the black vote and everything that you were saying before. So it's crazy.
You know what? The funny about the JD Vance thing too, because they're talking about him being helpful with the white working class voters in the swing states. That's Trump's base.
I know.
Who said that? Who said that?
That's
all of media. That's like the argument for JD Vance. So John,
they don't believe that.
I mean, hopefully not, but people will convince themselves of anything. Like, once you believe that we have a close election in a 50-50 country and that Joe Biden won 2020 by doing this and this and that, and that Trump really needs to win Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, well, what kind of people have we told everybody that is for decades? Oh, it's white working class people. Really? Is it white working class in Detroit, where all the voters in Michigan apparently are, or in Milwaukee, where all the voters in Wisconsin apparently are, or in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, where all the voters in Pennsylvania are? No, that's the black vote. That's the Democrat vote. Don't you understand? So JD Vance is going to win who? I mean, Trump's also got the black vote. Trump has every vote except for, like, what? Wine moms in the suburbs?
The machine vote. The mail-in vote.
It's all crazy. We are in madness, and we are expected to incorporate levels of madness into what we say so that we can participate in the approved conversation that happens within, like, the gated center space. It's ridiculous.
No kidding. Yeah,
it is. I know this is off topic, but did you guys see Trump talk about Xi Jinping today at his speech?
Yes. Yeah.
He gave the line again. Where's it at? Hold on. Trump Xi trick. Because I used to have this teed up in my videos where Trump says they think I'm playing a trick on them, talking about China. And he says it again tonight. Oh man, I gotta find the video. Hold on.
What an amazing thing, guys.
Was it Joe Rambo who posted it? I think it was.
Big shout out to Joe Rambo, by the way. He's very frequently in the chat.
Yeah. Okay, here it is. No, that's not it. Yeah, this is it. And this video basically confirms that he's been talking to Xi in China, which I don't think that's been reported on publicly, has it?
Not that I know of. But why would I?
God dang it, did I lose it? Okay, I'm sharing this.
By the way, I'll just speak for myself here. For the Whitney Webb fans in the chat, I know she's a good researcher. If she I'm sure that the other guys would be okay with this. She's welcome to come on Badlands and we can talk about this. I'm more than happy to listen to her talk about all this stuff. And I actually probably agree with her. I agree with her a lot about the info app that she describes. I think that that's real. I mean, I believe that it might be acceptable and maybe good where she doesn't, I don't think, but she's done amazing research on a number of subjects.
Yeah, I've nothing wrong with Whitney Webb or research. It's research. It's good information. Like, some people take away different conclusions from certain information, but I would love to have a discussion with her. We should get her on next Power Hour next Saturday.
Well, hey, if anybody knows her.
Man, can you imagine when he meets this guy? He thinks Trump is playing a joke on him. He actually thinks there's some kind of that I'm playing a joke. He doesn't believe what happened. He doesn't believe the last election. He doesn't believe. He thinks I'm playing a joke on him. But can you imagine President Xi, Putin, all of them? They're all smart, tough. They love their country, or they want to do well with their country, whatever it is, all ideology. But we have to have somebody that can protect us. And Orban was right. We have to have somebody that can protect us. Right now, we have really low IQ people in there. And the president in particular, he has about a 70 IQ.
I mean, what do you think that means when Trump is saying that foreign leaders don't believe the last election? They think that Trump is playing a trick on them. I mean,
I'll tell you what they think. Here's what they think. They think they watched Trump do about 4 billion different executive orders and fire his Secretary of Defense and replace him with an information warfare guy. And they said, okay, we're not retarded either. So you're playing a trick. What's the trick, Donald?
Hey, Trump, have you read Devolution.link yet?
I know.
Dude, people who don't pay attention to the way Trump talks and have like ignored him and think he's stupid still, like they would be like, well, okay, fine, but that's a euphemism. Like they just always say what he's saying is a euphemism.
Well, see, what they have is a worldview. They have an accepted set of beliefs, things they think they know, and that are just fossilized into their perception of the world. And all they have to do with evidence that contradicts their worldview is say things like, that's just a figure of speech. Why not? You know, it beats thinking. Thinking's hard.
Yeah. So, I mean, the way he says it almost sounds like he's stopping himself from saying something else that he wants to say here. Let me just play the first like 20 seconds of this.
Fierce individual. He's a fierce man. Can you imagine when he meets this guy? He thinks Trump is playing a joke on him. He actually thinks there's some kind of that I'm playing a joke. He doesn't believe what happened. He doesn't believe the last election. He doesn't believe. He thinks I'm playing a joke on him. But can you imagine President Xi, Putin, all of them? They're all
like here. It's like he's trying to figure out how to say something. Like he stopped himself from saying something else. But yeah, that's just so perfect. The foreign leaders think Biden is a joke, and he is. He is a joke.
You know, if we didn't have our mainstream media, and all of us are affected by our mainstream media, every one of us, even those who insist on calling it fake 24 hours a day. If we didn't have that stuff telling us that this stuff is real and that we need to pay attention to it, the whole nation would be acting like us, would be saying things like...
We would have never had a pandemic. And I can't imagine anyone would have ever believed that Joe Biden received 81 million real lawful American votes. That's preposterous. No one would know about any of this stuff. And once you really, really understand that and sit with that, it's important to then ask yourself, well, if that's the case, how much of what I'm seeing is just a platform for corporate advertising? And if it's all that, then why am I addicted to it? Because people are, in large part, just watching a soap opera they can't turn off.
That's such a good point.
And it is a soap opera that we can't turn off, guys. Our job is to cover the soap opera.
Yep.
Well, hopefully our job as people is to eventually turn the soap opera off and focus on our own lives.
Yeah.
Damn straight. Something like that is happening. But right now, it's very difficult sometimes to tell which parts are real and which parts are soap opera. I mean, the whole thing is a soap opera, but some of this soap opera is in fact real, and it affects us in big, big ways. And sometimes this soap opera can cause everybody to shut down their businesses and strap diapers to their faces. So
yeah,
it can be very real.
But imagine we were a couple of 100 years ago, and somebody said, they're going to put a window in your wall, and through that window, you're going to see things that could never in a million years happen. And because it's so entertaining, after a few years, you're going to do whatever that window tells you to do. You'd be like, get out of here. And it's totally
we literally have a computer program called Windows.
Yeah, well, we also have computer programs that can write what's happening through that window.
Yep. The AI is crazy. Oh, also of note, the guy who made the Devolution Power Hour intro got a share from Elon Musk, and Elon said that it was the best AI video he's ever seen or something.
What
you
video?
Didn't see that? Hold on.
Dude. Are you talking about the Gandalf the White thing?
No, right here.
I think it's the Matrix.
I saw that. Yeah.
This Phil Scarborough is the guy who made the intro to the DPH.
I did not realize he made that.
Yep.
I did.
The end with Obama is hilarious.
I know. We'll use this as the outro for the show tonight. But I
Send
lied.
Send me the high res one in Telegram.
Kudos
What
to
was that?
Phil.
What
if
was
you
that?
Want to play, if you want to play it off of Twitter, you can. But I bet Phil could send us the good version.
Yeah, I'll just play it off Twitter. That's
Okay.
fine. But I did lie. I do want to go back to the Whitney Webb article. Just to read this one paragraph that specifically mentions, like, it's a second paragraph down here, Patrick.
Main core was expressly developed for use in continuity of government (COG) protocols by the key Iran-Contra figure Oliver North and his allies that operated an off-the-books intelligence apparatus with direct CIA involvement known as the Enterprise. North and his associates used COG and Main Core to compile a list of U.S. dissidents and, quote, potential troublemakers to be dealt with if the continuity of government protocol was ever invoked. Troublingly, these protocols could be invoked for a variety of reasons, including widespread public nonviolent opposition to a U.S. military intervention abroad, widespread internal dissent, or a vaguely defined moment of national crisis or time of panic. North would later brush up against the Trump administration, joining former Blackwater founder Eric Prince in an effort to lobby the administration to create an off-the-books private CIA.
There you go. So it is interesting. She goes into that. I'm going to post this link in the chat, and we should try to get Whitney on to have a discussion with her. So we'll work on that too.
I want to start my own CIA. That sounds amazing.
Well, I guess John did.
Yeah, this Badlands pretty much is. We're all CIA. I'm not actually at my brother's house. I'm in my training basement.
We basically just do open source intelligence, and we have a conversation with the public who helps us refine what it is we're thinking and looking at. I mean, that's what people who talk about Q, I mean, the way that I've written about it, the way Burning Bright frequently talks about it, I'm sure that you guys are on board with this. I mean, it got people to research things and then discuss them and allow the community to kind of vet and filter them. Like, the boards were basically a really brutal form of community notes.
That's so true. You can request community notes on Twitter now, Chris. I don't know if you're aware of that, but
man, that almost makes me want to come back just to see if I could ever get one.
Hey, you want to give the whole coming back to Twitter a real chance, Chris.
One of these
days. I have
days.
given it a real chance in my head.
Well, that doesn't count.
Well, it just hasn't convinced me yet.
Since both Chris and I are traveling, I think we should get to the rants, Patrick. I feel like we've had quite a few.
I have them all pulled up, bro.
Awesome, man. And I'm gonna pull up the boost while you do that. Oh, also, guys, Gart coming up, Deadwood. Make sure you get your virtual ticket. It's a great experience, almost like being there. We try to make it as inclusive as we can. We'll even let you ask questions to the panels live. But also, our Myrtle Beach tickets, are they on sale now? They're going to be on sale soon. They are on sale for virtual and in-person Deadwood ticket holders. They'll be going on sale for everybody else probably this week. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, go ahead and I'll pull the boost up.
We got super chats. $20. GL Smith 1183. Hey, wanted to have you share a Badlandian meetup in Tennessee, August 3rd, 2 p.m., Greenville, Tennessee, at Aubrey's Restaurant. All right, guys.
August 3rd?
August 3rd, 2 p.m., Greenville, Tennessee, Aubrey's Restaurant. So everybody check that out. We should probably have like a Telegram group or something, but thank you very much. $10. Water Kid 94 found this and was wanting your thoughts. It's an Instagram link. I'm sure John is grabbing it even as we speak.
Oh, 17, not, but I'll try.
He would normally do this at home. He would totally grab it. But since I'm at home, I will grab it. And it is now up on my screen. Oh, wait. Instagram. Okay. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle and Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas must be held accountable for their lack of action in the assassination attempt of Donald Trump. This is a 3D animation showing exactly what happened, how it happened. We played this 3D animation early on in the show.
Yep. And honestly, though, like it was very convincing, but had they put other bullet tracks from other spots, like just because it was in a 3D model, people would have been like, oh my gosh, that's totally plausible. Like there was a second shooter up on the water tower. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they're really, yeah.
Let-
It's the documentary effect. It's very, very persuasive.
Yeah, Patrick, we should whore for likes, and you want to talk about rainfall at all?
I do. I want to talk about rainfall. Guys, go to epicminerals.net and get the very best lotion the world has ever known. Rainfall, consisting of food-grade plant oils and an aloe vera base, all organic, and everything is great for your skin. Dead skin sloughs right off, and it's not greasy, just soaks right in. And the smell, the scent is absolutely heavenly. Check out the reviews at epicminerals.net. And as a quick housekeeping item, Angel Paste is not in any way affiliated with me or Badlands Media. And so a lot of you have thought that you're buying Angel Paste and you're supporting Badlands by using promo code Badlands. You're not. My sister stabbed me in the back in March after I had built up her entire brand and then decided I wasn't allowed to sell it anymore. So, you know, it's just not in any way. Yeah, that's
Sorry,
more or less
wrong,
it.
wrong one.
So, epicminerals.net, promo code Badlands. And when you use that promo code Badlands, 25% of your sale goes directly into an account that pays for operations and salaries right here at Badlands. So get your rainfall and use promo code Badlands. And if you get 3 or more bottles, you get free shipping.
Yep. Oh, we didn't talk about Hillary. You're right. Let me read a couple of these boosts here. And then we can talk about Hillary real quick, and then we'll get back to the rants. So we got a couple. Baby Cake 680 says, love you guys and all the research. Hilarious and informative conversations and critical thinking that you provide us. But I do hope the Faking Gay Brigade are a tad more cynical and critically thinking of the JD Vance choice than the Wednesday Devo crew. And then she says, regarding JD Vance and the Faking Gay crew, that's you guys, or us here. Regarding JD Vance, who writes their own life story at 32, seems like another tailor-made Manchurian candidate with convenient life story written early in life, published and made into a documentary by liberal mainstream media, much like Obama and Maryland Gov. Westmore. Part 3 on Vance, all from the same person here. What are the odds he knew Vivek are in school, worked at Sidley Austin, Obama and Clinton ties, and Tucker Carlson was pushing him the night of Trump's attempted assassination? I would have preferred a 100% safe and loyal VP, General Flynn. And yeah, I mean, we talked quite a bit about that tonight. So
all of that is correct. And it's important to remember that the election is fake and that JD Vance has been named nothing more than a narrative running mate for this current period of time in the fake campaign and election.
I did see in the chat, I think Ravalon asked if the president could dismiss the vice president. No, the vice president is an elected position because he is elected as part of a ticket.
From the RNC.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if we go back to the OG style of electing presidents and vice presidents, the majority of electors would select the president, and then they would take another vote, and the majority of electors would vote among the people remaining and select the vice president. And if the election were to be legitimate and held today, to the extent that there would be a real election, Donald Trump would come in number 1 and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. would come in number 2, and that would be the president and vice president.
That would be interesting. And Trump was on that call with him. Was that last week? Where they were talking about how we're going to win?
Yep. And talking about their vaccine board that they had begun, talking about how Trump will not, he was talking about childhood vaccine injuries and how bad the childhood vaccine schedule was. Trump has already said countless times that he intends to strip any federal funding from any school or university who has mask or vaccine mandates, which ends the childhood vaccine schedule. People don't actually understand that for whatever reason, because a lot of people want to press that Trump is very, very bad about the vaccines, but that's not true. Yeah, that Kennedy thing is real. And then I sent you guys the other day, Kennedy talking in the Tucker Carlson interview about how he had dinner in Las Vegas with Mike Pompeo. And I think mentioned Secret Service in that clip as well. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff there. And, you know, people are going to talk about how liberal he is and some of the scandals and controversies that have been reported about him. The way to think about him is as a Donald Trump of the Democrats 8 years later. He is there to scrape off any gettable people who don't want to go down with that ship. And he is roundly attacked by the media. That's where those scandals come from. I don't know if they're real or not, neither do you. So, we'll just have to see what evolves. That is that would probably unify the country more than anything I can imagine.
Yeah, if I'm just being totally honest, and I know this is super superficial of me to say this, I just cannot stand his voice. Like, but I can get past it.
Fair
Like,
enough.
if he ends up being the guy, whatever.
He
His
sounds
voice
like
is just-
he sounds like old Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah.
Go after pharma, go after the deep state. He's well equipped for both of those jobs to the extent that he's loyal, faithful, and patriotic.
Yeah, but
And I don't know if he is, but I'm saying that
I don't know
makes
if
sense.
I don't know if I trust his background though either necessarily. I mean, he worked for a law firm. Like, you could look at him the same way that you critically look at JD Vance and his ties and
Sure.
upbringing and everything. So
Yeah, the fact is that
No doubt.
we have an aristocracy in this country, and our leaders are all being selected from the aristocracy, and the aristocracy are corrupt. We just have to hope that we are being led by the actual rebel faction of the aristocracy, which is how all successful rebellions take place. A portion of the aristocracy sides with the people, and then they become the new majority aristocrats.
yeah. One more boost here it's 3 boosts from the same person. Clark Les 380 says, first, great to meet John and Patrick in Minnesota. He was the one on the bike, or he's going biking afterwards. Patrick, nice to chat on Biden control. John, meant to thank you for the work you've done on devolution, researching your articles. Without it, I wonder where we'd all be in this war. And then he says, second on JD Vance, Kyle had great points on DPH, but Chris has had great counterpoints on his podcast. Hard to get past JD being fully supported by Con Inc., and he's yet another lawyer from Yale. Trump picks bad people sometimes on purpose. And then, then his last one was comment 2 sent to Daily by mistake. He meant it for this. So.
Yeah. And along those lines, and again, guys, I am trying to just hit all angles. I don't know. I'm not saying JD Vance is bad and Kyle's wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there are things to consider from both sides, and no one should be happy about a movement that is ostensibly trying to give power back to the people, where someone just selects the guy who we're going to then have to vote for in a rigged election 4 years from now. Because that's where it stands, and people are totally down to do that. They're like, JD Vance is going to lead us into 2038. And it's like, what? We haven't even resolved 2020 yet. So that's a problem. But the thing that I mentioned the other day that we were talking about and said maybe we'll talk about that on TPH with the paradigm that was established with Mike Pence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the idea that Donald Trump would never put someone bad that close to him. He would never have someone bad in his inner circle that way, in a position like vice president. Well, part of that was a fine theory, and it remains a fine theory because, as I said, 2020 is not resolved. If 2020 gets resolved, then Mike Pence has dibs on that seat. That's him who won along with Trump in 2020. And so this is not to cast any aspersions on Mike Pence, but now that confirmation, at least to this stage, if you're going to go with the JD Vance thing, that confirmation hasn't come. And if JD Vance is really going to be the guy in a real election, then that confirmation ain't coming. And without that confirmation, a big chunk of Trump would never put someone that close to him who would do that kind of drops away. It loses a lot of support. And then Vance is basically still kind of just like flowing in the draft of that prior argument that now falls away. Trump actually does put a lot of people in close positions who we believe have been put there to be spotlighted due to their corruption or the window on corruption that they open up through being spotlighted. So there are other ways to look at this.
Yeah, there may be other ways to look at it. The vice president's The vice president job is special. It's a heartbeat away from the presidency. And I said this during Trump's first term, and I'll say it again. If he picked a deep state shill for his VP, then there is, in my opinion, no good way to justify that. Now, it doesn't mean that there is no good way to justify that I can think of. There could be one that I haven't thought of, but the fact is that's one heartbeat away from the president, and anybody can get killed. And he's in his late 70s and not exactly Olympic swimmer shape.
Yeah, I've never seen him swimming in the Olympics or an Olympic-sized pool for that matter. But in terms of like the Mike Pence stuff, like everything you just said there was spot on. You know, the way I look at it is in terms of running like a devolution op, like I really truly believe he would have to be in the know on something like that. And all the reasons everybody hates Mike Pence and thinks he's a bad guy, like I don't think any of those reasons are legitimate reasons. Like, oh, he's a pedophile and rape kids, according to Lynn Wood. Well, no, that's not true. That John Here to Help guy was full of shit. And then it's like he could have single-handedly overturned the election. Well, no, like that wasn't in the law at the time. I know different people say he could have done other things, at least sent it back to the states. But the arguments people put forth about why Mike Pence is a bad guy, none of those have ever held any water for me. But I mean, you're right in terms of, yeah, it's possible Trump puts bad people next to him. He definitely does. He puts them in places for a reason. I think another one of my biggest things that drove me nuts about the arguments against Mike Pence is a majority of those arguments were coming from people who were also saying patriots are in full control. We got this, all these things. And it's like, okay, well, you cannot say that, but then also say that, like, if patriots are in full control, that argument doesn't make sense to me based on how they were making the argument. You know what I mean? So, but you're absolutely right, Chris. And I still do think we have to resolve 2020 at some point. Like that has to happen. If Trump just moves on from that, like, is Trump even the guy we thought he was? Because he told us that thing was stolen. We all saw it get stolen. He knew it was his duty to prevent it from being stolen. If he did not interdict in some fashion, whatever fashion that is, maybe it's not called devolution, whatever he did before leaving office, if it was literally nothing, then he was derelict in his duties and has already proven to us he is not fit to be president because he didn't do what he was supposed to do the first time around. Right?
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't think that that's where we're headed, but if you don't take seriously the possibility of that, however remote, then I don't know what people are doing. And with that, I have to take off. I will say that as we talked about in the elimination style tournament a few weeks ago, if they go to the Jeffrey Katzenberg route and we get the whole television show about this, Hillary Clinton would be the final boss. So that is my weigh in on that subject. And I hope you all have a beautiful evening.
We will certainly discuss this next week, since allegedly it's happening this week. Hillary's going to be the candidate. So can't wait.
Allegedly.
Ghost of base Patrick Henry is going to gloat.
Is he? Why did he?
It will be very funny.
He called that shit a long time ago.
Yeah.
We are going to have a replay. It's going to be great. All right, guys.
It's going to be Biden to the finish. All right, bro. See ya. Cheers.
Take care. See you soon.
Let's get to the rants.
All right, back to the rants. Very generous rants today, guys. Thank you so much. $17. Zima Man 58. Sloped roofs are kryptonite to the Secret Service. Indeed, they are. $2. Dirk McGurkin. When you get to the bottom of the assassination attempt, you probably get to the bottom of 9/11. Could be. Thank you very much. $2. Ja34. 100% real assassination attempt, as AHS Special Forces said they never thought they'd lose. They never thought he'd live. Now they scramble for excuses. That would be what you would call a conclusion, which I have not reached yet. But thank you for the super chat. $2. Dirk McGurkin. One other possibility: if the Dems keep pushing that the assassination was fake, they will eventually admit that Q is real. It definitely makes them look like big fat hypocrites. I mean, we've been called conspiracy theorists now for 7 years, 8 years.
Yeah. It's about time that the Dems are called conspiracy theorists for not believing it. But you know what? It is interesting. They have so many of their own damn conspiracy theories. They just never get any mainstream media attention. Like they don't have a Media Matters or Mike Rothschild dedicated to writing articles that Rachel Maddow shares about their conspiracy theories. So they don't get attention, but they are. Everybody's a conspiracy theorist at heart.
Yep. $15. God wins 73. Whitney Webb is a solid researcher, but has massive Trump derangement syndrome, has no sense of factions within the power structure, good twin, bad twin, and has an oddly strange fear of Peter Thiel. See you in Deadwood.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, I agree with that take, by the way. I really do. Like every word.
Yep.
$5, Dirk McGurkin. What about the energy the mainstream media has to dedicate to the assassination? How much does this tie up the media propaganda machine when they desperately need the airtime to make the Biden problem go away?
It's a great point as well.
Maybe it's lack of airtime to make the Biden problem. Yeah, that is a great point. You know, the assassination attempt narrative serves a whole bunch of different InfoWar purposes.
It makes it much more like it makes the need to remove Biden even greater because Trump like leveled up after that thing.
He did. He really did.
Yeah.
$10 D. Carell 8. Given all the same information, if this was Biden, there would be no doubt all of us would be saying 100% fake and gay. You can't say that for sure. I mean, I'd be saying fake and gay, but I say that about everything.
Yeah.
I
feel
know.
like it's just weird. To me, it was like our approach to most information we see anywhere is to come at it without taking a conclusion or making a conclusion and trying to analyze it with whatever information we have. But it seems like this is one of those situations where we're not allowed to do that. You know what I mean? Like some people get very emotional and passionate about it, which I understand. I think we're all emotional seeing how things unfolded. But we're going to try our best not to change who we are, even though I will say, again, I do think it was legit and real, but I've been wrong many times, as you guys well know. Anyway, let's keep going.
You know, Hillary running would freaking break my reality, dude. It would be like watching the boogeyman come back.
Yeah. I think it'd be, the true final boss ticket, and I said this a while ago, would be Joe Biden with Hillary on a ticket instead of Kamala, because that would be
Joe
both.
Biden is effectively dead,
as far as we know. But he's still tweeting. I saw a tweet come out when we were on the show tonight.
Oh my god, I bet it was so stupid.
Well, probably I could find it.
$5 Poso 4 Hope, the wife and daughter he covered.
But
I don't know what that's referring to.
Corey the fireman who died. I keep butchering his last name.
Comparatore.
Yep. That's who they're talking about.
Yeah, and John, you've looked into this Comparatore person.
Yeah,
as far as you can tell, he's real.
Yep. And he really died, as far as I can tell. Yeah. But by the way, did you see what's the senator who died last night? Sheila
Jackson Lee. She was a representative.
That's right. I went through her because she tweeted stuff like last night, the last night of the RNC, and she died the next day. So, I mean, obviously she doesn't run her Twitter account, but I went through her Twitter for her last like couple months. She hasn't been in any pictures or anything for months. So like we have no way of verifying if she was doing anything, voting on stuff or anything at all. But she had people tweeting, like putting on information, all these things on her behalf. You could say the same thing about Joe Biden. Who's the Feinstein? Remember when they like had people voting on her behalf when she was like,
yeah, good times,
completely lost.
Yeah, that was really jacked up. They just keep these people in office
forever.
$5 snackaroos. Thank you, Patrick. Trust Trump with VO choice. I think you mean VP choice. Also means he's never going to be allowed to be faked out with full retard security. Thank you. $10. Test Ved. Timestamp 1 hour and 31 or 1 hour and 32. The guy who put the towel on the face and helped carry him out speaks here. What's the towel on the face?
They're talking about Corey again.
Damn. Yeah, I wanna know more about that scene. I'm probably gonna watch that a few times after we get done here. But I'm putting that Rumble video in my to-do list. Okay, next super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat, by the way. $10. Wide Awake Patriot 146. Great show. Looking forward to Gart Deadwood. Thank you so much. $10. Jason of TGA. Everything boss has said since in statements and at the RNC suggested to me that he did not expect to be alive when the attempt came, and crowd says he was, and Jesus are not finished with him yet.
Okay, here, I want to share this clip.
Yeah.
This is what he
Thanks, Jason.
Sent us.
How's everybody doing? I mean, how does everybody feel after the events of this weekend? Sad. Yeah, sad. Before I go into my accounts of my events of the day, please speculate. But a life was taken and a family was ruined. And not just one, but two families. And then to account the victims that were critically injured, I read earlier today that they are not on a critical injured list. They are recovered.
Audio setup sucks.
Yeah, it might be rumbling.
What did you just say? Praise for us.
Yeah, but this is the guy who he was the one who was there in that original video, like when he sat down afterwards and like put his hand on his face.
My gosh, he was that dude who was looking had like blood stains. He was sitting next to the dude.
Yep.
Okay. So crazy. So he's a public speaker.
I don't know. I don't know.
What is he doing?
This is some gathering, a post-rally gathering from Audit the Vote PA.
Holy crap, dude. We need reporters on the ground interviewing these people.
Yeah. Can't afford it yet, but someday.
Damn, do we have anybody in Pennsylvania?
Nope. Closest is probably Burning Bright, and I'm not putting him on the ground anywhere.
Shit. All right. Next super chat. $20 buck 8056. How many shots the sniper shot? There should be an equal number of spent casings lying near the shooter. What is the count? Does it add up? I have no idea, but it sure would be information that us peasants should be allowed to have. $1 Denise Dan and by the way, thank you for the generous super chat. $1 Denise and 2. Robert Barnes said that maybe the shooter was in the inside of the building, not on the roof. Angle would make more sense.
That's what I've heard too, because it was the Secret Service sniper main base, whatever. It was them who shot at him, not the guy on the roof. Heard that theory too.
$10 wedged gravy. Bottom line, deep state failed. Trump lives. They are completely fucked. No viable candidate. Metallica seek and destroy is now the theme song going forward. Kill them all. I mean, I like the sound of all of that.
Wait, what? We might have to disavow that. What happened?
Oh, the kill them all part. I don't disavow.
Disavow.
Burn them all. Disavow that too. After a fair trial. Okay. Next chat. Thank you for the super chat.
Know what else I disavow? Whatever Matt Gaetz did to his face.
What's going on there?
Did you see this?
He's like in his early 40s. He doesn't have to. What? In the... Oh my God! Make it stop. Everything sucks, man. You know what? That's his face, and he's just weird looking. He's always been weird looking.
Yeah, but like,
Why are we doing this to poor Kim Guilfoyle?
I don't know. I'm just like, what is he doing?
I think there might be some work done. Can you try again? I'm sorry. Let's go back to old Matt, new Matt. I don't know. It could just be different facial expressions yielding different looks. His eyebrows look.
Eyes.
I don't know, man.
Sorry.
There's a little Botox is fine.
Talk about a devolution.
Yeah. Damn straight. $5. Jay Schwass. Representative Corey Mills said it was local law enforcement snipers located inside the building. They aren't trained to shoot as far as military snipers. Interview with Fox host during RNC and Charlie Kirk as well. I will definitely take a look at that. Thank you for the super chat. $17. Crane Op 59. Were there any trees between what sniper teams we know of? As Bongino reported that the shot was made between 6 inches opening in branches. So I'm told.
I haven't heard that one.
I have heard it, and because the Bongino, but
I like Bongino.
I do too. Who wouldn't? You know, he was my Spygate gateway drug back in 2017.
Yeah, Brian was mine, but then as it got close to the election, all I would listen to was Bongino.
Yep. And then right after the election, Bongino kind of treated it like it was a real election.
Yeah, that was kind of
really weird.
Crooked here.
Anyway, $10. The Q Awakening. There are videos by an account named Legislation, reposted by McGregor, I'm assuming Colonel McGregor, of operators in full camo gear coming out from behind a truck as Trump was taken away from the scene. Yes, I saw that too.
Yep.
It is interesting. $2. Dirk McGurkin. What about the Adam Baldwin video trolling Jesse? Was that a warning for him before the interview? Well, he just said Greg and Jesse, but he didn't say which Greg and Jesse he was referring to. And I have very little context other than to say that all of the, not Adam Baldwin. You don't mean Adam Baldwin. You mean Stephen Baldwin. Adam Baldwin is Jane from Firefly.
Stephen Baldwin, like
he's referring to Stephen Baldwin. He has to be. Adam Baldwin doesn't play that way. Adam Baldwin's a badass.
Is Stephen Baldwin the one that like is doing all these ghost things lately?
Yeah, that's the guy. Chris.
Yeah, I don't see anything about that being comms. Like I don't see, for me, comms come from people I believe to be directly involved in stuff. Otherwise, it's just those people doing shit.
Dirk McGurkin confirms in the chat that it is Stephen Baldwin he's referring to.
Okay, well, no take backsies on the $2 for getting the name wrong.
$1. Hevsky. I'm thinking they picked him up that way because they want to get him to an ambulance ASAP. Nurses want to weigh in on that?
I think he was probably obviously dead at that point with the wound that I heard he received.
All right. $10. Speckled Boots. He was shot at 6:11 p.m. Eastern Time. Interesting. $10. Film Pro Joe. It's highly unlikely that a person would avoid a wound if they received a rifle wound to the chest while only wearing a soft vest. They would require an armor plate in a plate carrier. Yeah, John, getting hit again, I don't think is consistent with the video that we watched, because nobody can get hit with a bullet in his flak jacket and not react like they've been, hit by a bullet.
Well, did you see? Because like he gets hit in the ear, and he's like still standing. And then another shot goes off, and he like ducks and covers. You keep reading. I'll find the video I'm talking about.
$10 film. Okay, thank you so much. And $15. 1027JS. Hello, guys. Thanks, and thank you right back. Appreciate
Nice to
it.
see you, Joe. Okay, let me just play it. Like, and I'm gonna do it a little slow. I'll do it 0.75.
Take a look at what happened.
I mean, it's not impossible he got shot. Like, on his way down. We don't know. But I don't know nothing about what armor or whatever. But I also know that the military and people like the president, they're probably wearing non-public gear. You know what I mean? Like the gear they probably have to protect those people is more advanced than stuff you can buy on a store shelf. So I don't know.
Okay. Next. $5. Poso for Hope. You think Trump let them set him up and had his back up, keep him safe, or foul the plan? Thank you very much. $5. Sean Joe, keep up good work. Thank you. $2. The Q Awakening. Project Looking Glass. Probabilities. Lapse in security needed to happen, maybe to prevent something far more catastrophic. Lean on divine intervention. Full armor of God. This is the only plausible explanation. The Q Awakening. I always try to avoid the expression, This is the only plausible explanation. I just rip it straight out of my repertoire. Thank you for the super chat, though. $10. J. McKenna 007. Have you guys heard about the Austin-based financial company that shorted 12 million options of DJT on the 12th and shorted Rumble stock 34 million options on the 12th as well? Yeah, I did hear that story.
I heard there was I think there was a correction for it. It was like incorrectly reported. They actually didn't buy that much or short it that much. It was like a multiple of a million less than that or something, or 1,000 less than that. I think it was a lot less.
Okay. $5. Foxo 1. On a side note, 7, 13, 24 equals what? Want me to gematria that? So what? 11 plus 6 is 17. Oh shit, look at that. That is nice. Awesome. Thank you very much. $5. Wedged gravy. I am so glad BB is not a part of this conversation. I'd want to brainy smurf him. I don't know what that means, but I personally always welcome Burning Bright in my conversations. $20. Michael Flynn. Yeah.
Let me show this. This is the corrected filing here. On Wednesday, APW addressed the rumors on the website. The SEC filing, which showed that Austin Private Wealth shorted a large number of shares of Trump Media and Technology Group Corp., was incorrect, and we immediately amended it as soon as we learned of the error. The company said they clarified that they had held only 12 contracts or 1,200 shares, not 12 million, blaming a third-party vendor for multiplying all options contracts by 10,000. The erroneous report filed on July 12th to reflect their June 28th position was amended on July 16th when APW discovered the mistake.
Okay.
So,
or this is just covering for their foreknowledge of an assassination attempt.
Could be, but then would the SEC be able to allow that to? I guess it's too soon to know. We'll probably find out later on if correcting that was just cover or not. But
I mean, the SEC is headed by a dude named Gary Gensler, who is one of the worst scumbags in the whole world.
Yeah, but also it's just another lesson of like the 48 hours, whether it's true or not. Like nobody, we talk about the 48-hour rule or 72-hour rule, and I feel like nobody follows it ever.
I do. I do the 500-hour rule.
500.
$20. Michael Flynn 59. How are you, sir? If you embrace the idea that sometimes you can't tell the people, you have to show the people, and that you will be amazed to learn what you have witnessed, you will be less upset as things unfold. Appreciate that. $10. Jason of TGA. What I find fascinating is the Thiel attack articles do mention Palantir, but rarely what it is or their algorithm. It's more or less us in a massive anti-woke counter AI digging for info. You know something? That's kind of the feeling I got when I was reading Whitney Webb's piece.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you can look at it as this, private CIA, fine, but, wanting to be able to gather intelligence, that's not automatically evil. I'm not saying it's automatically good either, but demonizing Peter Thiel doesn't seem helpful to me. Could be wrong, though. $5. Secrets. This current narrative involves an assassination attempt on a man we have grown to love, whom God has given us. Emotions will certainly be high. Examining all angles is best for our discernment. That is really kind of you to say, Secrets. I agree completely. $5. Vegas Deplorable 26. A thought. Could Thiel's tech be significantly used to identify millions of illegals, thousands of Antifa, and others that DJT may need to either eject, detain, arrest, or question? Thinking out of the box. The answer to
100%.
your question, in my opinion, is yes.
Oh,
I think so.
My kids might be. I hear something. I'll be right back.
I'm going to keep on trucking, guys. All right. Thank you so much, Vegas Deplorable. And there's absolutely no reason that can't all be true. $5, barely 45 on the Trump Jesse Waters clip. He says, woman in the red DD shirt. He's telling you that you're getting distracted, Neo. Holy crap. Does he really say that? I got to look, man. I gotta look at that. Barely. Now that's thinking outside the friggin' box. $20. Michael Flynn 59. Exodus 3:5. All right, I'm looking it up right now. Here we go. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. Michael Flynn, 59. $20 super chat, too. Also, thank you. $10. Errol, how can anyone be so sure they know what really happened last Saturday when we don't really know what has happened in the past 60 years? Thank you. I agree completely. $10. Jason of TGA. Somehow the new human seeming Zuckerberg is less predictable than the robot one, lol. Jason, you read my mind. I felt the same way. It's like he looks less sallow and replicant-like. And I didn't even listen to it with sound because I can't bear to listen to it. I should have listened to it with sound. Thank you so much. $5. Wedged gravy. Trump talking about his world tour at his speech today and announcing the party is over to the world leaders and them agreeing with him is all the news I'll ever need. Badass. $2. Dirk McGurkin. Is this just a power struggle between world elites and the less evil world elites trying to wrest control from the darkly evil world elites? Sides are being taken. People are lining up. Yes, another way of putting it is all wars are among aristocrats, and we peasants are just there for fodder. And we're siding with the aristocrats that we think like us the best. $10. Gallant 1. My thought is Trumper is an homage to Hulk Hogan's appearance at the RNC. His fans were referred to as Hulksters. I may be wrong, but did Hulk make that nickname toward Trump's base? I may be wrong. I don't know either. I really don't know. Hey, if somebody wants to pop the link to Donald Trump referring to the girl in the red shirt, that would be neat. I would like the woman in the red shirt. I'd like to hear that. If you could pop that into the chat, I'll keep an eye out for it. $5. Our America 45. It was not SS agents, Secret Service agents. They were switched out for DHS. Search Hawley's letter to Mayorkas. I'm familiar with what Hawley said. Here's the thing. I can't bring myself to get mired down in the details when I'm still working on not being able to accept that Trump would allow such flagrant abandonment of his own physical security. And yes, I'm fully familiar with the story, and it's just a story that they switched out Secret Service for DHS. If Donald Trump can't back up the Secret Service with the best private security the world has ever known, then he's not the Trump we thought he was. $5. Hulk's pythons. There we go. Any thoughts on Vincent Fusca being at the rally? Also, could Trump have given himself a blade job like they do in the World Wrestling Federation? Trump has worked with the World Wrestling Federation multiple times, and Hulk was at the RNC. Wow. Guys, yes, like I said, anything's possible. There are some out there, good faith patriots, who said he could bloody his ear with a squib. You know, bam, squib. All of these things are possible. Now, I'm going to very calmly say, doesn't mean I believe these things. See the new Prue. So Patrick attacks Trump now? I don't know what to say, the new Prue. You're not listening. Okay. Anyway, let's keep on going. Patrick attacks Trump now? Anyway, as far as Vincent Fusca is concerned, was he the one who didn't react when the shots went off? Very, very interesting character, him. And his face close up, it has kind of a prosthetic look to it. But that's all I've noticed about Vincent Fusca. $2, Zen Papa. Vance doesn't sit right with me. Even if he stays the pick for vice president, I won't change my vote, but he just doesn't sit right. Honestly, I hope something happens where he's no longer the VP pick. I don't know. I don't know anything about J.D. Vance. Trump picked him. I trust Trump. I also trust Trump to engage in psyops if he has to. That is the nature of this war. And it's not always pretty, you know. Q said to us, the ending won't be for everybody. and the choice to know will be yours. $2, Zen Papa. Vance doesn't. Okay, there, we got that one already. $5, The Meerkat. Is anyone old enough to remember Henry Cho's joke about his friend JB? J only, B only. Joe Biden. Is our next VP John Lee Donley Vance? I do not know. Thank you very much for the super chat, Meerkat. $10, Blue 7i. I'm all booked up for Deadwood Gart, but I'm worried there might be major societal upheavals that could preempt travel to the event. Just say a prayer. And I look forward to seeing you there, Blue 7i. $20, Gunica 1. Patrick, here you go. In-depth analysis. Ooh, I think this is probably the same thing, but I'm putting this in my to-do list. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for the generous super chat of $20. All right. So the title is Audio Analysis is 100. Clear Trump and crowd were shot at by two separate. Okay. I will definitely check that out. $10, Jason of TGA. Still convinced Biden really is a Manchurian candidate, like Boss says, but co-opted by us. Hang in there, Joe, just a bit longer. I like the sound of that. Thank you so much for the super chat, too. $20, so what? 369. I think you guys are doing a hell of a job with the most important discussion I feel that's occurred so far. What if the CrowdStrike hit was white hat? Absolutely. Talk about a 40K foot view. Wow. Different levers of power can be seized by good guys or bad guys. You can infiltrate good guy groups and swap out their leaders. You can impersonate leaders. You can hollow out entire groups. True information warfare with a kinetic component, which I think is what we're living through. Literally anything is possible, which is why I work so hard not to jump to conclusions. Thank you so much for that super chat. $5 RPRN. Thiel has been into parabiosis, young blood infusions, for years. Maybe Vance's connection to him isn't to draw voters, but a sting operation connecting to missing children. Maybe. Or maybe Vance just finds young men to get blood from, and then he takes it out of them with a blood drawing thing and then puts it into himself, kind of like in Silicon Valley. Like, I think it's a thing. And yeah, there can be horrible crimes against children, or there can also be volunteers in their late teens donating blood. So once again, I try not to draw conclusions. Thank you for the super chat. $5, Our America 45. Chris, loving seeing your eyes instead of just your eyelids. Your angle is set up better tonight. Good going. Thank you very much. My wife calls Chris's home setup the disembodied head. $5. Pozo for Hope. Y'all think the Q Trust Bar or Kansas Ray thing was a setup for the deep state? Same for many high profile in Trump choices. Don't know exactly what you mean by that, but I think you might mean that it was a setup. I don't know what you mean by that. I'm so sorry. But thank you so much for the super chat. I think that it could be deception. I think it could be real. But Q definitely said it. And I've decided to go ahead and trust Barr and trust Kansas and trust Ray. $1, Big Comb. Have you guys ever looked up Magic Eyes Only? I have. And I'll say he's a smart guy. He's a very smart guy with great analysis. I am a superficial fellow, and his monotone delivery makes it impossible for me to focus. I feel bad saying that, but that's just how it is. $1, Tranquility. Check out John E. Hoover on YouTube and John McCulloch Ballistic Analysis, possible fourth shooter. There you go. $5, Dirk McGurkin. What is going to replace the Democratic Party? It's probably RFK Jr. That is probably his purpose. Maybe. Could be. Maybe the Democrat Party just gets taken over by people who are not batshit crazy. And maybe the Republican Party gets taken over by people who are not faking the funk and are actually just the property of organized crime. $2, the Meerkat. Patrick, this is not a super chat. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. It is a super chat. I can't help it. It's a Rumble rant. Sorry. I just can't help it, guys. You know, I've been in this space a while, and I did spend a lot of time streaming on YouTube. And so I just call them super chats. $5 Q Fan Addict. Patrick, in trying to follow your possibilities, finding it near impossible for Trump not to have solid info on Secret Service, please tell me you also find it possible for DJT to play along honoring a dead fireman. I don't find that impossible. No. What are you talking about? Going along with the central narrative is definitely something Trump has done over and over and over again. Look at the vaccines. Trump is on the record as a vaccine skeptic. And he went with the vaccine the whole time. And there are reasons to do that. Thank you very much for the super chat. RPRN, tell me why the shooter had dry, crusty blood on his face from an obvious back of the head wound, but fresh blood on his neck and shirt in the photo taken immediately after he was killed on the rooftop. I saw that photo and I decided to ignore it. It just looks like horseshit. I don't know the provenance of that picture. So I'm sure there are multiple inconsistencies. $10, the new Prue. Secret Service deal with hundreds of threats. Secret Service doesn't inform T of every threat. Not want him living in fear. SS is trusted to make decisions to stop him from going on. Also, why he's late often until Secret Service clears him. Yeah, I know the protocols. Thank you very much. $5 test fed. Sorry, my rant was not descriptive. It's a video from Audit the Vote PA. Rally goers talked about their experience at Butler. Was that? Oh, I have it right here. 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 52 seconds. I will check that out. It's quite lengthy, though. But, I got to listen to my podcasts. Okay, thank you so much. $5, JB Rowell. John, sorry I was a dick the other night. I truly respect what you built and only joke because you deserve it. Watching Patrick learning that not everything is fake and gay is beautiful. Who said I learned that not everything is fake and gay? That's fake news. $1, John W. Ryan 4. Okay, second attempt to rant. You nailed it, John. Good job. All right, $7. Cranop 59. Okay, pay attention to the last rant about line of sight, i.e. trees. Mr. Colorful, I think you mean me. Yep, family can do that when money is involved. Shoot, just agreed with you, Mr. Colorful. Yep, been waiting to rant this. Thank you, Cranop. Always nice. $3, Cranop 59. He did. Patrick, hand lowers in protective matter. I don't know what to say about that, my friend, but thank you so much. $2, Kathy CTX. Brandon Herrera posted a reenactment video today on his YouTube channel. Interesting to see what happens to a human ear when hit by a bullet. I should check that out as well. Okay. Thank you very much. $2, Foxo1. Pat, sorry to hear about your sister/situation. That's BS. Come up with a lip balm or lip mask or lip oil and call it Cupid's Bow. I've got my lip balm right here. It's actually a lip oil, and we haven't released it yet, but it has castor oil in it. We also have castor blend of face and body serum, which the jojoba oil in it is soaked in rosemary for like weeks before we use it. It's amazing. Basically, it's generating our own essential oil. Thank you very much. EpicMinerals.net promo code Badlands. $5, Our America 45. Patrick, maybe the switch from Secret Service to DHS was very last minute and Trump was reassured that things were good. Maybe. You never know. You're right. I do never know. However, I operate under the assumption that Donald Trump would not have allowed that level of lapse to take place. I could be wrong. $5, Starborn 01. Patrick, what are your thoughts on John Cullen and Jason Goodman? They are going viral after the assassination attempt. Just wanted to know if they are reliable with their info or no. Thank you. Starborn, for me to evaluate that, I'd need you to email me at pgunnels@gmail.com. I will do my very best to check it out. I really will. $5, Wenlin123. Sorry, I'm in late and started at the beginning. But could the guy who died be part of it and he was silenced and taken out? It's valid. That's very valid. And I don't want to discount any possibilities at this point. Here's outside the box. What if the real target was the dude who got taken out? I don't know. I do not know. The person who actually got shot in the head, I don't know. How many of you guys shoot rifles at long distance? I don't, but what I have heard from people who do, that should have been an easy shot. I don't know. I just don't. But if there is one person who gets blown away, maybe he was the target. The very best cover for an assassination attempt, for the very best cover for murdering somebody that I could ever imagine would be to figure out a way to make it so everybody thought you were aiming at the most important person in the world. Does it mean that I think this is true? No. For the umpteenth time, I'm just tossing stuff out here. It's been a week. All right. Whoa, look at that. Oh, look at that. We have one of you impatiently waiting for your rainfall. I hope it hasn't taken too long already. We are currently, we're waiting for a new shipment of raw ingredients, and then we can make another 350 bottles of rainfall. Isn't that exciting? And we're getting really, really good at the process of making it. But anyway, yeah, it's Starborn 01. It's theories. And I am up for theories. But at the same time, we have to set our expectations pretty low when it comes to how much truth we're going to expect to find early on. Like I said, how long has it been since 1963? 60 years since November 22nd, 1963. Did you guys know that the Zapruder film didn't come out until 1975? Bet you did. I bet you a bunch of you didn't know that. Isn't that weird? So, maybe there's going to be well, in this day and age, there will be no Zapruder film 12 years later. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching the Devolution Power Hour. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Do you realize that I have not whored for likes at all during this episode? This is the kind of stuff that gets me in trouble, guys. So I need the remaining 12,600 of you right now to do me the biggest favor ever. Just stop what you're doing and press that thumbs up and give us a decent shot at being number one on the leaderboard this week, because we certainly weren't last time. Bongino went live. Everybody and his brother went live right after the Trump assassination. So there's that. Ooh, Waters, Trump, red dress. Bam, got it. All right, let me see if I can. Oh, it's on Telegram. Thanks. I would have to. I'm sorry. I'd have to download it, and I can't right now. But if you had sent me like a YouTube link, that would be different. But anyway, back to what we were saying before. Hit that thumbs up. Really helps if you do that. Ooh, look at this. Okay, so how about this, Patrick? What if Trump jumped up and raised his fist and said, "Fight, fight, fight" to his own personal guys? That's another aspect of the assassination that gives me pause. You don't know if there's another shooter. You don't know anything. Somebody just took a shot at your head, and you're making your head available to shoot again? It just strains my belief. You know what I'm saying, guys? I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to go after Trump. I'm really not. All right. I think that's enough. 2 hours and 24 minutes is one of the longer ones. So thank you everybody for being here. Make sure to visit our sponsors. That would be EasyRx. That's badlandsmedia.tv/EasyRx. And then, of course, cbdistillery.com, promo code Badlands for both. And, of course, epicminerals.net, promo code Badlands, or rainfall.life. Give that domain name a shot. Rainfall.life. If it resolves for you, then it'll take you straight there. And, of course, always promo code Badlands. It supports everything we currently do here at Badlands Media. Thank you all so very, very much for watching the show today. I'm in John's StreamYard, which means there's a good chance that I don't have an outro video. No, I don't. Ooh, wait a minute. No, I need to watch that video that Phil put together. And I don't have the link. God. You know how often I actually get to host the Devolution Power Hour? I'm gonna get Phil. What is his PHR? No. PHSJR. Got it. Okay, so I'm going to pull up Phil's wonderful Matrix video. All right, guys, I did it. Can you believe it? Oh, wait, John already had it up for me. Isn't that funny? All right, here we go. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Let's watch Phil's video as our outro, and we will see you next week.
He is the one.